Bloodywood TADKA cooking, rapping, so many things are here to be discussed on Ears to the East because Bloodywood came up as part of a Baby Metal review that we did the other day of their song with Baby Metal Bloodywood. We were talking about that. I think the internet just froze. Hi, welcome back. So we were talking about that the other day, and of course, Bloodywood, they're India, they're in the East, they're East enough that we can discuss them here on East of the East, and we're going to diverge out into other cultures occasionally as well, which we know we let ourselves down doing. And also, we're doing a bit of a format experiment, as you might have noticed from our recent Hannah Beer video, in that we are going to be trying these little 20-minute long episodes where we talk about one song, see what you think, see if you guys like this format, get in the comments, let us know. But yeah, so we're going to be talking about TADKA. New song from Bloodywood, a band who, all of us have opinions on this. You guys, just for a bit of context, you guys knew them, I think, longer than me. I'd heard various things they'd done, but I'd never put together it was the same band. And so, okay, now I'm starting to get more relevance.
Actually, only know two songs. Baby Metal brought me to Bloodywood.
Okay.
This is the third song I know now.
You were following Moa, as you so often do.
Moa brought me the good stuff.
There we go.
The album. I will listen to the album very soon. But is the song part of their album? Yeah, Bloodywood album.
Does
Not
anyone
the
know
Moa album, unfortunately.
So does anyone know? Is this song part of the new Bloodywood album?
I imagine it probably is. I haven't heard the new Bloodywood album myself, actually, to be honst, because we're covering.
Is it a new? I thought they just have one.
They have released a new album relatively soon, so it could be off the album, might not be.
Well, I just gonna point out it says here that it's off the album TADKA, so either that means that it's a single or there's actually an album called TADKA, in which case I would imagine it kind of has to be on that. I'm going to keep on looking it up.
It says here, pre-save our upcoming album, New Daily. If you like what you hear, it's like the first line and the description of TADKA.
Okay, there we go. Okay.
I would assume.
So, Google, you lied to me. Fair enough. All right.
Well, at least Google didn't tell you they were a visual K band, so
the trauma.
That episode will never ever be forgotten. Oh man,
Google trolled me so hard that day.
That was beautiful, man. That was beautiful. So in regards to TADKA, then, should we go around the house? Sorry, I'm still not feeling well. I'll try not to splutter on the microphone. Who wants to go first, telling us what they thought about TADKA? Because it's one we've all heard.
Yeah,
I think Neon, you can. I
mean, TADKA is pretty much what you get with Bloodywood. It's it's that mix between heavy metal, but kind of like a subject matters which are kind of close to the heart. With it being Indian. Trying to showcase like the best of their kind of like culture, their country mixed in with this metal, which is kind of both sort of entertaining, sort of what's the right word I'm looking for here? Like kind of teaching you about their ways as well, and just having fun with it. It's comedic as well at the same time. They don't really take themselves too seriously, but they're very proud of who they are, their culture, but also the metal and the comedy as well that's mixed in there. It's this is a really, really good.
Didn't know about the comedy aspect. Like I was watching that video and like this is so funny. Just those guys
I do feel that like what Neon's describing is probably more the aesthetic of the video itself, because the video does seem to be a big part of the song. I mean, the song is definitely what subject worth talking about on its own, but the video seems to a lot of effort and love's gone into that. And whoever that woman was who walked in at the end, I get the feeling that if you live in India, she's probably like some famous like chef or something in India.
Maybe
I just got that vibe. Maybe, yeah, it could be. You don't know. So it was like it's like the way she walked in and like the camera was behind her and then it cuts to her face. It's just at the pivotal moment, right on the beat. I was like, oh, okay, she's got to be someone who we would know if we were. Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure if I should already get into that, but I wanted to ask you guys about what you thought about the theme or like the lyrics of this song. Like, what is the song actually about? Is there a deeper meaning, or is it actually just about food and spice?
Food is spicy and it tastes good. That was pretty much the summary of this song.
Yeah, but like I was wondering, like, is there like a deeper meaning to that? like find it in yourself. There are some lines that made me think that, but in the end I was like, no, this is a food song.
I get the feeling it's like that old phrase, variety is the spice of life, in that, you could make a food reference from that, but it's like maybe that kind of like subtle reference gets lost in translation. So again, maybe if you
Yeah,
understood
maybe.
Indian, the subtlety of like
What does
certain
TADKA
references.
actually mean? Does anyone know?
Flavor according to the lyrics.
Flavor. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, food is well, especially Indian food is especially known for their
Yeah.
spices and burst of flavor. You could argue, especially us.
Burst in my toilet.
I got
Yeah,
hungry again.
I was about to say. I think all three of us are probably in that realm of being a little bit too white. That we need to go to the toilet as soon as we've had a good meal.
I like spicy, but I think what I consider spicy is not spicy at all for them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was about to say, after spending time in Korea, I was like, oh, okay. So my level of spice is clearly not up to what it needs to be. Yeah. So, yeah, I get the feeling that that would not be a safe thing for me to experiment with.
would not be a
Song
safe
what?
thing.
If we move up from our bowels to our ears for a second, um, what did we all think of the song itself, actually? So I'm kind of intrigued about how you metalheads feel about this.
I like it. I like it. I like it a lot, actually. I mean, I feel like this one's a little bit more cleaner than a lot of their other songs. It's a little bit more free flowing, not as in your face heavy, but in typical Bloodywood fashion, you know what you're kind of going to get with them now. You know that you've got those sharp witted, kind of smooth, as fuck verses, and you know what you get with Bloodywood now. You know there's going to be a hard hitting chorus, with the guitars coming in with the palm muting at some point in the song. And although this isn't maybe like turned up to like 11, like some songs like the BABYMETAL one or the or Dada Dance and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it's there or thereabouts, but it's not as in your face. But it's this one, I don't know. This one just feels like one of those kind of like groovy metal songs that you kind of less headbanging, more just kind of like vibing, I think. But yeah, I mean, even when they don't go all, even if they don't intentionally go all out Bloodywood, it's still really good time, I think, with their songs.
Yeah. Yeah, I have similar thoughts about it. I would say I also like Dana Dan more. It's just hits heavier and also the Baby Metal Bloodywood song.
Bake Off.
But yeah,
More
Bake
food.
Off. Thank you. But yeah, I still really enjoyed this as well, but it's not as outstanding. I think I got a bit off thrown by the fun and the video and also the lyrics because getting into Bloodywood, I was reading a lot of comments like they were like have a lot of political lyrics and even like compared to things like Rage Against the Machine and stuff. I was like, okay, let's check out the lyrics, and then I'm reading the lyrics, and it's okay. It's about food.
I I was having a little look at the lyrics just then, and yeah, it does seem that there's some interesting. There's a little bit of humor in there. It's clearly delivered with some humor, but there's also a little bit of reference to, like, people pulling the trigger because they don't know what they're gonna have for dinner and stuff like that. Where it's like it's kind of like talking about the idea of people being hungry and hopeless. And in the same verse, he's like thanking his mum for like feeding him, and it's like the idea that food is very much connected to if you've got a stomach full of food, then you're going to rise up and do something. Whereas if you're hungry, then it's kind of hard to do that. And I think there's kind of that subtext underneath it as well, which is rather interesting. And then, the flavor metaphor. I think you have to dig a little bit to get that. But again, I wonder if some of that subtlety is lost from not knowing the nuances of
Yeah, but there's probably a bit
Indian
more
aspects.
to the lyrics than you obviously can tell by just reading through it one time. But because I had to think of like, that feeling when you eat a dish in a restaurant and it just doesn't taste as good as like your mother made it. That's kind of the vibe I got
Yeah,
from
my
that
my
video.
my mum just used a
No, kind of
microwave.
like you develop your own tastes like through whatever you grow up in and all that stuff.
I get that. Yeah, there's also the taste of home, the taste of where you come from, isn't there?
Yeah.
I must say that from my personal perspective, okay, so this song on many levels you could argue it's simpler than the one they did with Babe Metal. But I've got to be honest, for me, the end result of this one was just more effective. I think it it was simpler, but it worked more coherently. It felt more like everything was more in its right place. And there's nothing wrong with doing a song that's a bit simpler sometimes. I've got to be fair. Once again, the chorus didn't hugely grab me here, but it was like it was good. The metal aspect was good enough that it was head banging. It had a little bit of a chant to it, kept it going. For me though, like the song totally rode off. Like I thought the rapper guy, he was again, he wasn't trying to do anything particularly complicated here, but what he did really well. He was
Yeah.
adding enough interesting changes to his delivery. The lyrics were often quite fun. There was some of the just little lyrical schemes he did in there were really quite playful. I
On
found
that
his
note,
whole thing
I really
really
like the way that he's like when the hit on his delivery for this song, where like in usual times it's like in your face, impactful, but this one's like really chilled back, like almost relaxed. It's like instead of him like going yo, he's almost like yo,
Yeah,
he,
true.
he actually like some of the stuff I have heard with him. I do think he's very talented. Some of the stuff I have heard with him, I feel like he's almost like trying to and I'm not saying this is like against his will, but it sounds like he's trying to match the metal like sort of pace and everything. Whereas what I liked about this was that there was that juxtaposition, that difference, and he rapped in a way that felt for this song at least it felt very comfortable. And some of his more high paced stuff is great as well, but this just felt like a really comfortable delivery. Um, and especially considering the lyrics had a bit of humor in them, I just thought that he was definitely the star of the show. But still, it was a really good. I mean, the riffing, the head banging, yeah, it was a really good sort of foot stomping, head banging song. But to add the nuance, I think that his lyrics and his delivery added that nuance that made it that gave it that character and that fun that pushed it over the line. So yeah, it was a good baseline headbanger song, and he gave it like so much more character and energy. And yeah, really, really enjoyed his performance on this. I will say, I mentioned to Neon before when I was watching the video actually while we were just getting ready to do this because I hadn't seen it. So I was watching it through with Neon on chat before we press record. And yeah, I noticed it's got the subtitles at the bottom, and I loved how the subtitles kept on flitting between British English and American English. Like the word flavor is spelt several times with like the word with the U included or missing. It's like flavor without a U and then flavor with a U, and it's like neighbor with a U. And I'm like, this is interesting. It's like, are you trying to appease people? Or has someone just been running this through a
That's what's
spell check?
bothering the British guys.
You're damn right it is.
You should have heard the way you piped up after that as well. He was like, "I fucked a mistake."
Actually, I was much more like, "Bad mistake." There's no flavor without you.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, even I didn't like how that felt coming out. Yeah. And by the way, I will say that the music video was actually really well directed. I love that sort of the scene they did with the fisheye lens and that beautiful, huge, like sort of banquet hall where it's like swooping around. That's really cool. And then like the comical bits, like the storyline bits in the kitchen, they were done quickly. It wasn't like one of those storyline videos where you're waiting for the story to progress. It's like it moved quickly and chopped along with the video. So it's like, if you want to see all the details, you have to watch it a second time. That's the way a music video should be.
And educational as well, in the sense that if you cut a tomato, put your fingers away.
The British guy might have some questions about how you pronounce that.
Tomato is a tomato.
Thank you. This channel that often talks about Japanese music is now talking about a German song, and we've got like lots of talk about British English. It's just getting very international here. What can I say? But,
becoming one.
So Benedict is someone who you're new to them like I am, although in a very different way. You said this has definitely got you interested to listen to an album.
Well, I was interested before. It was not this song in particular.
But has this
I mean, it
affected
was
your
like,
interest?
I would say, like it wasn't hugely outstanding, but it was like on the same nice, good quality that the other songs were. So, and also it had, that element in Dana Dan. It also had elements like that. Also musically, I'm not sure if there were some in Beckhoff, but some of that Indian elements in the music, had that, I don't know, this drum he had from the where he hit from the sides. I think it really fit
Giant
very
tamper.
well in the music. Just not even thinking about the Indian aspect, but I think just the sound really works. And I'm interested to hear like what else they will do with the Indian influences on the album and stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I touching on what you said then about this being still a good song without it being like, you know, massively like one of their best. The one thing I do like about Bloodywood, for me personally, again, opinions may differ here, is like even their worst songs to me are still like a 7 or an 8, you know, and then they're great. They, you know, their good songs are like masterpieces, but they never seem to fall at least below that 7. For me, they're always a great listen. It's one of those where you could put a playlist on a Bloodywood and just like power through it in a day, and you'll be happy.
I think like listening to this song like during an album listen would totally work. But you know, just listening to this on its own, it's not like the super exciting track.
I think they could have done more with this. I mean, there's definitely that like hidden meaning or different aspect of what you could say with taste and like what Howard was touching on, how it brings everybody together. I definitely feel like
Yeah,
they could have gone for a deeper meaning, but they
might
definitely
be lost in the translation. That's
well, I think they intentionally veered this in a more comedic direction instead of trying to be all philosophical. They definitely, I think,
I
made it more
I
fun.
I think a message like that has to be delivered with a certain degree of levity because, I mean, it is a message in itself that is, you know, I mean, you don't want to get all dark and poetic when you're talking about, hey, do you know what? We all need food. It's kind of like it's such a universally obvious point that if you try to
Yeah.
get too deep about it, then you're going to sound a bit like a pretentious asshole. So it's like one of those things where it's
also
kind of it's worth
difficult to
talking
combine
about,
with the
but
music video.
well, yeah, I mean, the funny thing is the music video, I think it does exactly what a good music video should do, which is that it both captures the energy, like keeps the pace and energy, but it also captures the feeling. And I can't help but feel the feeling that they wanted this song to have came across well. Like you said, the chilled out rap juxtaposing against the metal, it all was obviously very sort of like light-hearted,
Feels
but
like
kind
kitchen.
of joyous. Sorry, what?
Feels like kitchen to me.
I have never heard that said about a song before, but now it's
Exactly.
every time I hear a song now, I'm gonna be like, but does this feel like kitchen to me? Well, we just like we're talking
just
about
the
Tasty
Hanabi track
Survivor
was
by
a bit
Hanabiya.
kitchen
Yeah.
as well, yes.
Did that taste like kitchen to you?
A little bit,
I
yes.
said taste. I didn't say sound. I said taste. Oh no, we're gonna have to do another one of those episodes like we did before. We talk about what food every band is.
I have to leave my fridge to see.
I thought Yutina was always tasty.
God,
oh, we're talking about the music.
No, the cringe. The cringe.
You could have told me about that in advance, guys. Come on.
Tasty Survivor becomes a new meaning.
We've got a minute and 50 seconds left, but I bet like Neon is just like make the clock end.
Make it.
But yeah, I would say that as someone who, so I've always been, I said this before, like before Bloodywood came out, we had a lot of those metal bands who were doing like the Indian metal where it wasn't really like, it was just like, oh, let's stick a sitar on top of metal and then it's Indian metal. I was like, yeah, that's not very clever. But Bloodywood, when I first heard their music without knowing it was them, I was like, oh, this is the first band who's actually weaving in Indian music into metal in a way that's actually interesting. It was the first one I'd heard. And I feel like ever since then, I haven't liked everything they've done, but they've never done anything where I've gone, oh, that's bad. It's just been like some of it's worked for me, some of it's more than others. I would say that again, this to me might be one of their simpler songs, but I just felt like this really was on the money. I felt it really worked. But anyway, on that point, we've got a minute left on the free version of Zoom.
We're not worthy.
Yeah, 20-minute segment today. But so get in the comments, tell us what you thought about this format. Hopefully you liked it. Tell us if you want us to cover more stuff by Bloodywood, other bands. Comments, all that kind of stuff. Anything you guys want to say in the last 40 seconds before we wrap this one up?
Remember to keep your ears to the east.
All right. You can't just make the clock end because you feel that. Well,
tell us what you thought about this song. I mean, compared to the other songs, how do you like it as a Bloodywood song?
Well, we want to see some more Bloodywood fans in the comments down below, so let's make it happen.
Indeed. And until we do see you.
Oh, sorry.
You want to say it, Benedict?
No.
No, he forgot we were recording then for a second. He was like, shit, we haven't finished.
Keep your ears to the east.